Right, so good day class. So take today, this week is the Holy Week, so we won't have class. So I'll just prepare this short asynchronous lecture. Just like to remind you guys that uh, you may need to revise some of your designs that it would fit the context of our subject. And then um, I think it's almost time for you guys to prepare in advance in doing the comprehensive terminal report, of which a template it's already in the Padlet link, and I provided that during the first week of classes. So we're gonna talk about all again on the community planning development process. So this is the process class. So I think we already did this. You're familiar with this one, but ours is a much more practical approach on doing community planning development. So a community development assessment should be done before a community develops a strategic plan, before it develops action, step into address the community problems. So a good assessment forms the foundation for a successful community and economic development effort, because if you have a good assessment of the problems within the community, then you may you will be able to identify the problems that needs to be addressed. So without a good assessment, communities are usually driving blind. So I think you could observe that, especially in a developing country like the Philippines. If you look at the situation, the poorest of the poor, in the slum areas, I think most of them, they may not be aware of the problems lingering in their community, especially in terms of cleanliness and other stuff. So the assessment will identify the strengths on which plan development can be built and identify the weaknesses that need to be eliminated or mitigated as much as possible to give the community the best probabilities for success. So I hope that before you um, um, selected the community and the community project during the first part of the midterms, that you really did the assessment class. So these are the things to consider in community development assessment. Of course, the physical infrastructure. I think most of you guys have been doing this, the plans for this, the transportation system, the weather and geography, the social infrastructure, which is, I think, for me, it's really important that you know the quality of the healthcare, the safety, especially the safety class. I think some projects in the communities here in the Philippines, they don't work out because I think most of the maybe the volunteers don't feel safe in the areas. Quality of school system, the parks, recreation and culture, availability, affordability, and quality of housing. And you have the economic development infrastructure, which is the low cost of living, the quality and competitiveness of public utilities, availability of water and waste systems. Um, I think last year we had an uh, program in the hinterlands when we work on delivering water and waste systems. And you have, of course, telecommunications, especially if the community you selected is quite far away from the cities, it will become a problem. Available commercial buildings, the lack of governmental red tape, the tax rates on businesses, first-rate scientific community in the area, the availability of fully developed sites. Then you have to look also for the look into the human infrastructure, the broad-based can-do spirit, because like what I've said in our previous meetings, if there's no cooperation class from the community, and they don't feel that they're gonna implement the project, then it's not gonna work. And of course, you should have a desire for development. Um, the community should have already opened their eyes on the problems that exist in their area. The competitive wage rate, the salary rates, sometimes is relevant. Labor availability, the quality of workforce, and the labor climate. Because especially if your community extension projects are physical infrastructure, it would be best if you hire locally class so that you could also help create jobs. So this is a SWOT analysis um, table. So you have to analyze the existing situation in a community. So you have the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities and threats. Um, for example, you have to look into the internal strengths of the community. So it assesses internal and external factors as well as current and future potential. It focuses on excuse me, real life context. It can help the community to analyze and devise a successful strategy for the future. It can also uncover areas that are holding the community back. So you have to conduct a SWOT analysis of the current situation of uh, the community. So internally and externally, what are its weaknesses? What are the threats, the opportunities, and the strengths? Always remember, guys, that some of the communities there may be risk in implementing a project, but risk and opportunities are two sides of the same coin. So for the internal factors, you may look at the strength. So does where does the community excel at? So what do they do well? And then what your unique resources are available there? Then what do others see as their strengths? So that's why it's important that you conduct the research and interviews in the um, community. So the examples are the existing local skills, abundant resources. What are the resources of the area? What are the existing infrastructure in the community? And then what are the practices that you have already tried and proven in their community? So it's really important to talk to local community leaders with this one. Then also interview also um, the people who are part of the community. Sometimes class in communities, especially the communities that lack skills, um, for example, in communities that have low employment rates, maybe you could help as an architect or a future architect by providing training programs for them. Maybe you could invite local companies, example, local paint companies, in teaching them how to paint. Uh, could also invite um, other industries to teach them skills in construction. For the internal factors class, so what do they perform poorly? What is lacking in the area? So how could it be improved? And then what what resources are fewer uh, in the vicinity or the area? Then what are the others likely to see as their weaknesses? An example is the prevalent poverty, lacking skills, poor infrastructure, and poor hygiene. I think this is a common problem in most of the communities in developing countries such as the Philippines. Uh, but if we teach them skills, teach them how to do some painting, then maybe by providing job opportunity, it would allow them to gain access to a wider range of job opportunities, which means that they could feed their families, and it's also connected to improving their hygiene also if they already have the money to pay for it. Just remember, class, that it is much better to teach them life skills and skills that are needed in finding jobs compared to just giving handouts. So I think it's similar to the principle of teaching in the Bible. It's teaching them how to fish instead of just giving them the fish. Then for the external factors for the opportunities, so are favorable external factors that could give the community competitive advantage. So you have to look into that. Then what opportunities are open to them? Then what trends could they take advantage of? Then how could they turn their strengths into opportunities? So I think, class, that for me, my viewpoint of our country, the Philippines as a developing nation, is that we just needed to really manage our resources well. And I think we are on the way to become a more developed nation if each and every one of us, uh, especially those from the private sector, private citizens, could help out in looking into our poor communities. The samples are the growing regional economy. Like here in northern Mindanao, it has a really strong economy. In the growing tourist arrivals, the little competition in certain trade or product, the more land to develop into housing units. So imagine, class, if we train them how to use power tools, how to make mix cement. So especially since there's a lot of construction projects, meaning we could supply the market with a lot of skilled labor. And if they have jobs, they could feed their families, and so it has a synergistic effect on the entire community. So for the threats, for external factors, so what are the factors that have the potential to harm the community? What threats could harm them, and what threats do their weaknesses expose? Samples are the exposure to hazards, especially some communities that are prone to flooding. Um, some communities are also built near railways, wherein their houses would shake whenever the train passes by. Increasing competition, increasing prices of land. But I think most of the problem here is that uh, a lot of communities in the Philippines, they live in land that does not belong to them. Then higher opportunities in other areas. Maybe there's less job prospects in their community. So this is the SWOT analysis, guys. So you have to fill this up so that you'll have a basic idea, more or less, how you're gonna approach the problems within the community. Okay, so I think this is an activity. Uh, this was prepared by the cluster for the community development. So you have to do the same grouping. You have to make a SWOT analysis So the respondents, so the group of friends you know from other programs within the UCP, for example, from civil engineering, electrical engineering, IT. So these are the guide questions. Ask them what are their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in relation to the following aspects: their learning, so as a student, as a future graduate, prospects for employment, skills, competition, facilities of their program, and morale. So you're lucky, guys, that you're taking up architecture because architecture is a skills-based profession. So you have a lot of skills in using softwares, you're gonna get hired. Okay. So this is gonna be the Holy Week this week. So please do this next week class during our class schedule. Then spend some time with your families and reflect. Uh, okay. So see you next meeting.